G'day legends, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in a recent video I created a rendering of what I think my 79 series Landcruiser will look like after I finished modifying it, and it had a cool background and all sorts of things. You guys were asking me all sorts of questions about it, so I figured that I'll take a little bit of time today and walk you through how I created my very own rendering of my 79 series Landcruiser, and you can do the exact same thing with your own vehicle. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Today is going to be a good one. So the very first thing we want to do, guys, is open up Image Creator from Microsoft Designer. It's very simple to get to. I'll leave a link that I'm starting on right now. I'll leave that link in the description as well, so you guys can just click on it and get straight to it so you're not stuffing around. The first thing we have to do is create an account. It's free, it's just a Microsoft account. If you already have a Microsoft account, just go ahead and use that. But for today's purposes, I'm going to create a whole account and everything from scratch so you can see exactly how it's done, and then we'll get stuck into the AI renderings of our vehicles. But there's a couple of tips and tricks that I want to show you guys so you get the best AI generation possible and it's as accurate as possible. So let's start with making the account right now. It's not too difficult. All you have to do is go ahead and click the join and create, and we want to actually create an account. So when we go sign in, we'll go sign in with a personal account, but what we need to do is to actually go, we don't have an account, and create one. So, I'm just going to click get new email address. So we've done all the verification now, and it's going to flick us over to a brand new account, and then hopefully we can use that to sign in. So now that you guys have made your account or whatever, you've signed in, doesn't really matter. However it is that you got here, you are now on the designer ready to go. So two important things about this site is, one, you put everything that you need to, that you want to create an image on, all your information. As much information as possible goes into that bar. The second thing is you get 15 boosts to start off with, so it means that you basically have 15 image generations that will work through quickly, and then after that it's going to slow down a little bit. So it does take a little bit of extra time, about 3 or 4 times as long to generate the images without those little boosts. So once you get to 0, it just takes a little bit longer. It's not really a problem. I just normally press it and then go and do something and come back. So what we're going to do to start off with is I'm going to try to create a little bit of an image rendering from scratch of my 79 series Landcruiser. So this is one that I've done behind me here. I'll put it up on the screen. That's an example of one that I've done in the past, and I'm going to hopefully try to get something somewhat similar, kind of close anyway. So this is how I'm going to get to it. So I'm going to start off with saying render a white 79 series Landcruiser with off-road accessories on a dirt road this time, with a mountain behind it. So once you click that, the renderings normally don't take very long. You can see I have got a few of my past renderings there, so it does keep them on the side, which is awesome. And then what happens is it will give you, once it spits it out, it's going to give us 4 of its rendering options basically. So it gives you 4 versions of what it thinks that we have done and what it thinks that we have typed in. Now you can see here, I didn't say utility or anything like that. So what it's done is it's basically taken the 70 series Landcruiser part and it's taken that and produced its best options. Now, unfortunately, none of these are utilities like what my vehicle is. That's a bit of a problem. So what I have to do now is I have to try and refine a little bit more to try to get what I want from the vehicle. It also has a couple little things like inconsistencies, and this is very common with the AI generations. No image is going to be perfect, so just keep that in your mind. So I'm going to click on this one here, and it's got this weird lettering in the front. Don't know what's going on there, but you can see it's not always perfect, so there are always going to be some inconsistencies. So there's one more thing as well, guys. So we're going to start refining these images to hopefully get something a little bit closer to what your vehicle is. But another thing as well is I'm going to show you how you can get a higher resolution version of these images here as well. So you can blow them up as like a canvas or use them for a wallpaper, because if you try to use that as a wallpaper, it's going to stretch and it's not going to look great. And you can see the resolution is only 1024 by 1024 pixels, which is not enough for a wallpaper. It's not even really enough for a phone wallpaper either. So I'm going to show you how we can do that as well with the use of another program. So I'm going to start now trying to get close to a utility. So remember, this program uses information and pictures from databases all around the world. Unfortunately, 79 series Land Cruisers are not really found in America, so there's not going to be a huge amount of images out there, even though it's popular in other places in the world. So what I'm going to try and do is add in some extra wording. So after 79 series, I'm going to add in as well Toyota, because then it will add Toyota as much as possible to the badges. And then I'm also going to put in here, after 79 series Land Cruiser, I'm going to try put in utility truck with a tray on the back. And I'm going to hope that that kind of gives it a little bit more information to go off. So we'll see what the result of that is. And it's produced something a lot closer to what my 79 series Land Cruiser is. This is a bit of a funny one here, this one. That's not really too close, but it does give you a pretty cool little design there. So if you wanted something a little bit different, you absolutely can get that. This is made a bit of a 6x6. Not sure what's going on the back there. Looks like a bit of a horse float sort of modification. But if you have a look here, like this is pretty close. I mean, yeah, sure, the side markers aren't in the right spot. It's got extra windows and stuff, but if you're looking at it from a glimpse and you just want to get a little bit of a picture and see what it's going to look like and get a bit of a rendering, you can with that one and also with this one. So once you kind of got the wording down right, now you can start adding a few more specific things to it. So I don't know, I might say something like, let's go, instead of it being on a dirt road, I'm gonna put it with off-road accessories, driving through a river with snow on a mountain behind. And I'm also going to say, get rid of off-road accessories. I'm going to say with a bull bar and a roof rack. So you can kind of get a bit of an idea, and I'm not going to spend too long on this, but you'll get a bit of an idea as to what these kind of renderings can do and what they look like, so you can have a bit of a play around with it yourself. But the point of this video is to show you that the wording is very important to get right. So now we're starting to get pretty close. Now this one here that's more like a 40 series, not really too close, but these ones up here, they're getting pretty close. And you know, the AI is doing its best to try to create the best image it can with the information that it has. And that to me is a pretty sick image. I like that one a lot. Although not too close, not as close as maybe the ones that I've done in the past, because I've just gone through so many different renderings to get to that. But what I'm gonna do is for the next part of this video, so now that you know how to actually create your own rendering, I'm going to show you now how to create this now as a wallpaper for your phone or a wallpaper for your computer screen, or if you want to blow it up to like a big canvas or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this. So I'm going to click the download button, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that using a product or using an application called Adobe Photoshop, and I'm going to use the beta version. So it's not too expensive to use the Adobe products if you just get the photography suite, which I've had for like the last 6 years because I enjoy my photography, because that gives you Photoshop and it gives you Lightroom and a couple of other tools which are pretty useful for photography. So they are quite cheap. So if you want to use that, go ahead and download that for the next step. So let's go ahead and have a look and see how we can now create that as a full wallpaper. But guys, if you just came here to have a look at renderings and stuff like that, feel free to go ahead and kind of, just pick it up yourself and start playing around with it, because it is a lot of fun and I thoroughly enjoyed doing this. So now I'm going to show you how to use, if you want to stick around to the next section, I'm going to show you now how to use the Adobe Photoshop beta version so that we can go ahead and create our wallpaper. So I'm going to go ahead now and find my download, and my download I'm just going to go ahead and chuck on my desktop here, and I'm going to open with Adobe Photoshop beta. Now that we have opened up the image in Photoshop beta, we're just going to go ahead and create a new canvas, and I'm going to choose a 4K canvas because most computers use bigger resolutions these days. So I'm just going to go ahead and now drag the image onto my new canvas, and then I'm going to open up my image nice and big so I can see my Land Cruiser on there. All right, now I'm going to select the edges using that little select button there, and I'm going to do the edges up to about here. And my plan is to invert the selection. If you hover over it, it says that. And I'm going to generative fill. So it's going to fill in all of that area with the part that I have selected. So I'm going to go ahead and just click generate. Again, using all AI at the moment, which is pretty cool. It means you don't have to do any hard work. And it's going to think. And it has now created a pretty cool 79 series Landcruiser, which is pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do now is save as a copy, and I'm going to save that on my desktop, and I'm going to save that as a JPEG, and I'm going to put that as 79 series Landcruiser. That's pretty cool. I'm going to save it in the biggest format that I can. And now let's have a look at our handiwork. So we went from this to this, which looks pretty awesome. Now you can see a little bit of the edges where the AI generative kind of fill has to figure out what it's doing. So you can kind of see along some of these edges, especially here, that there is going to be a little bit of a change in how it looks, just the textures and stuff. But if you're looking at that on a wallpaper or whatever, I mean, it looks fantastic. You can't fault it. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that gives you a quick little tutorial for if you have that extra, the Adobe program, if you have that, you can go ahead and use that to create yourself an awesome wallpaper like that, which is pretty sick. So if you enjoyed today's video and it gave you a little bit of an idea on how to do a few things and you got some value out of it, please go ahead, click the like button, share it with a friend, and please subscribe, because it will help me out in more ways than you could ever know. Doing all these little things does take some time out of my day, and I would appreciate it if you guys join the community, because I love having you and sharing with you all of my adventures and also my full drive builds. So with all that said and done, guys, if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section, and I look forward to seeing what renderings you do now that you have this information. So feel free to send them to me at North Oz Photography on my Instagram, and I'd love to see what you guys come up with for your own vehicles. Alrighty guys, I'll see you very soon in the next one. See you then.